4 other people named Nonnus. See Nonnus Nonnus of Panopolis was a Greek epic poet of Hellenized Egypt of the Imperial Roman era. He was a native of Panopolis in the Egyptian Thebaid and probably lived at the end of the 4th or in the 5th century. He is known as the composer of the Dionysiaca, an epic tale of the god Dionysus, and of the Metabole, a paraphrase of the Gospel of John. The epic Dionysiaca describes the life of Dionysus, his expedition to India, and his triumphant return to the West. It was written in Homeric dialect and in dactylic hexameter, and it consists of 48 books at 20,426 lines. Life. There is almost no evidence for the life of Nonnus. It is known that he was a native of Panopolis in Upper Egypt from his naming in manuscripts and the reference in epigram 9.198 of the Palatine Anthology. Scholars have generally dated him from the end of the 4th to the central years of the 5th century. He must have lived after the composition of Claudian's Greek Gigantomachy, as he appears to be familiar with that work. Agathias Scholasticus seems to have followed him, with a mid-6th century reference to him as a recent author. He is sometimes conflated with St. Nonnus from the hagiographies of St. Pelagia and with Nonnus, the bishop of Edessa who attended the Council of Chalcedon, both of whom seem to have been roughly contemporary, but these associations are probably mistaken. The Dionysiaca, Nonnus' principal work, is the 48-book epic Dionysiaca, the longest surviving poem from antiquity. It has 20,426 lines composed in Homeric dialect and dactylic hexameters, the main subject of which is the life of Dionysus, his expedition to India, and his triumphant return to the West. The poem is thought to have been written in the early 5th century. The paraphrase of John. His paraphrase of John also survives. Its timing is a debated point. Textual analysis seems to suggest that it preceded the Dionysiaca, while some scholars feel it unlikely that a converted Christian would have gone on to devote so much work to the Dionysiaca's pagan themes. A team of Italian scholars is currently producing a full commentary of the poem, book by book, of which several parts have already been published. They have shown that Nonnus was as learned in Christian theology as in pagan myth. Works. A complete and updated bibliography of Nonnus scholarship may be found at Hellenistic Bibliographies page at Google Sites. Editions and translations of the Dionysiaca include bilingual Greek-English edition, W.H.D. Roused Nonnus Dionysiaca, with an English translation by W.H.D. Roused, mythological introduction and notes by H.J. Rose, notes on texts criticism by L.R. Lind, 3 vols. Loeb Classical Library, Cambridge. Bilingual Greek-French edition, F. Vian, Nonnus of Panopolis, Les Dionysiacs, 19 volumes, Paris. Bilingual Greek-Italian edition, D. Gigli Picardi, Nonnus di Panopoli, La Dionysiache, B.U.R. Milano. Nonnus di Panopoli, La Dionysiache, a cura di del corno, traduzione di M. Malata, note de F. Tissoni, 2 vols, Milano 1997. F. Tissoni, Nonnus di Panopoli, I Canti di Penteo, Commento, Firenze 1998. Editions and translations of the paraphrase include the only complete translation into English, Prost, Mark Antony, Nonnus of Panopolis, the paraphrase of the Gospel of John, translated from the Greek by M. A. P. Ventura, ca. The Writing Shop Press, 2006. The last complete edition of the Greek text, Nonni Panapolitani Paraphrasis S. Evangelii Joannae edited Augustinus Schindler, exceeded S. Evangelii Textus Index Verborum, Lipsiae in Edibus Joibneri 1881. A team of scholars are now re-editing the text, book by book, with ample introductions and notes. published Safai, C. de Stefani, Nonno di Panopoli, paraphrase del Vangelo di S. Giovanni, Canto 1, Bologna. E. Livre, Nonno di Panopoli, paraphrase del Vangelo di S. Giovanni, Canto B, Bologna. M. Caprara, Nonno di Panopoli, paraphrase del Vangelo di S. Giovanni, Canto IV, Pisa. G. Agasti, Nonno di Panopoli, paraphrase del Vangelo di S. Giovanni, Canto V, Firenze. R. Franchi, Nonno di Panopoli, paraphrase del Vangelo di S. Giovanni, Canto VI, Bologna. K. Spanudicus, Nonnus of Panopolis, paraphrase of the Gospel of John.The, Oxford. C. Greco, Nonno di Panopoli, paraphrase del Vangelo di S. Giovanni, Canto 13, Alessandria. E. Livre, Nonno di Panopoli, paraphrase del Vangelo di S. Giovanni, Canto 18, Napoli. D. A Corinti, Nonno di Panopoli, paraphrase del Vangelo di S. Giovanni, Canto XX, Pisa.